he says, water is the softest thing, yet it can penetrate mountains and earth. This shows clearly the principle of softness overcoming hardness. So this week, we're just kind of speaking to the concept of vulnerability, which we tend to be pretty closed off about, especially in a world where we don't often feel like we're in a safe space. I know that you can't really control everything on the internet, but I certainly want to create a safe space for you here, at least in what I'm offering you guys, and encourage you to explore openness in whatever ways you're open to, in whatever ways you want to try out. So today we'll do a yoga practice that helps to open up the heart center, open up the front of the hips, basically the front body, which we tend to close off and keep kind of cuddled in, protected. So experiment with what might happen if you're open, even in just your own space today, wherever you're able to practice or tune in from, even if you're just not doing yoga and just listening in. I'll try to send some nuggets out to you guys. Amma, are you going to be crazy today? So this is an all levels class, just like always. So you're always welcome to take out anything you'd like, to add in things, whatever will work for your practice today. I'm going to use a block under my upper back. So basically the positioning of where I'll put it is right here. So it's not too low or too high. And then the higher your prop is, the more intense the back bend becomes. So just be mindful of that as you're kind of landing onto your prop of choice. So I'm likely to have a dog in my face here in a second. We'll see. She does have her bones, so maybe that will work to my advantage. All right. So again, just kind of take your time landing onto it. This is a pretty countercultural shape for the body, so it does take a moment to let it feel comfortable and to find a sense of relaxation. So once you find a position to lie down, whether you're on a prop or just have the knees and feet together, the knees apart, just start out your practice by closing your eyes. So that's that first step into the deeper layers of yourself. Just kind of tuning your gaze out of the external world, noticing what's happening internally. And just begin to breathe here. So each breath creates some space, some openness that we're working into this afternoon. And if you were in my workshop on Friday, begin to find that Ujjayi breath. So those deep inhales and exhales through the nose. Let's take about 5 more here. Maybe placing your left hand onto your chest and your right hand onto your belly and setting an intention for your practice. So something you'd like to carry with you mentally throughout the movements, the poses. And this last breath, let's pull it in, hold at the top, feeling the chest lift, the ribs expand, and as you exhale, just sigh it out of your mouth. And then taking your arms overhead, your legs forward if they're bent. Take another big breath in here. Sigh it out. And then from here, begin to bend into your knees. Slowly roll off of your prop and over to one side into a fetal position. And then gently press yourself up to seated. And in your seated position here, just take a moment just to sit up nice and tall, taking everything but your thumbs together, interlacing your hands. And then we'll just rest those palms onto the chest, let the elbows drop, and take your trust mudra here for a few breaths. Feeling the heart beating, just that little gentle reminder that you are okay, just as you are in this moment right here. And then on your next inhale, keeping your hands interlaced, just begin to flip your palms upward toward the ceiling. A little micro bend in the elbows, especially if you hyperextend. And then take an inhale, lifting your chest upward, rooting your tailbone downward, and just kind of letting those arms drop toward the space behind you. It doesn't have to be perfect, just experiment with sensation. Feeling the little shaking through your shoulder heads. Soften the muscles of the face. Let's take one more here. As you exhale, we'll release that right hand out to the right side. Left arm reaches up and overhead. If you'd like, maybe just bend the left elbow and let the arm dangle on the head. Breathing into that left side body here. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then on your next inhale, coming back up, and we'll switch to the other side. So left hand lands, right arm reaches overhead. And then coming back up to center, switching your legs, so getting the opposite leg in front if you're crisscrossed. We're gonna take the hands down to the knees. Take an inhale as you begin to press gently into your knees, round your spine toward the space behind you, dropping your chin to your chest, breathing into that space on the back side of your heart. On your next inhale, press your belly forward, reach your chest upward as you look up. Exhale, round. Good, let's take about 3 more here. One more, just focusing on your breath, letting it be your soundtrack here in the beginning. And then coming back into neutral, we'll begin to walk the hands forward, taking a gentle little fold here. So keeping the legs crossed as they are as you release forward. Just breathing here, about 5 deep breaths. Finding that Ujjayi rhythm with your breath. And then on your next inhale, slowly begin to press yourself up to seated. We'll just swing those legs around toward the space behind you, coming into a tabletop position, removing any props that might be in your way. Once you get the fingers spread, the toes tucked, take an inhale here, and as you exhale, just slightly round through the space between your shoulder blades. Good, and then from here, begin to hover those knees up off of the earth, feeling your core begin to ignite. Good, let's take 2 more breaths here. Last one in. As you exhale, begin to pick your hips up. Let your heels reach toward the ground as you shift your chest back into your first downward facing dog. As you land here, bend into the knees one at a time. Adjusting the hips, stretching out any areas of tension. Let's take about 5 more breaths here. You guys continue to keep me posted if I need to adjust the music. Dog, yes. Good, let's take one more big breath in here. Again, hold at the top, feel the chest expand. Be okay with that little bit of openness, of shaking, and then sigh it out. From here, bend into your knees, look forward, step or maybe gently hop to the top of your mat. Once you arrive, take an inhale as you lift halfway up. Exhale to fold it down. Inhale, rise all the way to standing. Arms lift as the feet root down. So you've got this sense of groundedness that accompanies the feeling of openness. Again, interlace the fingers here. Let the arms drop just slightly behind you. Micro bend in the elbows. And then from here, release your hands down. At your sides, coming into your mountain pose, letting the spine be long, the shoulders may roll up and around. Inhale, arms will lift up. As you exhale, we'll begin to reach that left arm back and the right arm forward, coming into a twist. Notice your left hip might want to go with you. See if you can continue to keep the left and right hip somewhat level. It might make your twist a little less deep. That's okay. Your next breath in, you can place that left hand to your low back. The right arm lifts up, maybe reaches back. Let's take one more breath in here. As you exhale, cartwheel those hands all the way down to the earth. Let your head and neck relax. We'll let that left hand land down. Left knee will slightly bend here. On an inhale, reach the right arm up and open. Good, let's take one more breath. Slowly releasing that right hand down. Inhale, lifts halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way to standing. Arms will lift. Maybe interlacing those hands, letting the arms drop back slightly. Inhale, lift back up. This time as you exhale, right arm reaches back, left arm reaches forward. Breathing into the length of the spine, so those inhales lift and lengthen your spine a little bit taller, and the exhales allow you to rotate deeper. One more breath wherever you are here. Good, right hand will land to the low back. If you're ready, left arm will lift up. Maybe let it just kind of drape over your head. Maintaining the flow of your Ujjayi breath. One more inhale. As you exhale, go ahead and cartwheel those hands all the way down to the earth. Take an inhale as you lift halfway up. Right knee will bend, right hand stays grounded this time as your left arm lifts up and open. Maybe gazing up toward that hand. Nothing is glued down. You're always welcome to explore, to adjust. Good, let's take one more breath in. As you exhale, release it down. Inhale, we'll lift halfway up. This time as you exhale, plant the hands down, step back into your first plank pose. For this first one, if you'd like, you can tap the knees down, get established through your core, through your breath. Fingers spread super duper wide, so you really press down through the finger pads so your wrists don't take too much of a hit here. Let's take 2 more breaths wherever you are. Your next inhale will shift slightly forward. As you exhale, pass halfway down into your chaturanga. Uncurl the toes, coming into your upward facing dog. In your up dog, your core is strong, your thighs are lifted. Begin to slowly bend into that left knee, reaching it back, doesn't have to go super far. And then we'll just gently tap that left knee down, spin open toward the right side of the room as you come into your modified wild thing. Maybe explore some movement here. Right arm can reach around, do some circles. We'll come all the way back around, this time coming up and into your 3-legged dog. Left leg lifts high. If you'd like to, you can open that left hip out, swirl the knee around a few times. Good, and then eventually square that leg off, hip levels out as you land the left toes to meet the right. Inhale here, begin to roll forward into your plank. As you exhale, pass through your chaturanga, halfway down. Uncurl the toes, lifting into your upward facing dog. This time, press so much into that left foot that you can bend the right knee, lifting the toes up, reaching them back. And then land the right knee down as you spin open into your modified wild thing. Heart lifts. Left arm can kind of just dangle if you want to swirl it around. Go through anything that would feel good. Let's take one more breath wherever you are. Coming all the way back around into your three-legged dog this time, so the right leg will lift high. Good. If you'd like to bend the knee, open the hips, swirl it around in any kind of circles that would feel nice. Any kind of movement, adjustment. Eventually, we'll square that hip off, straighten the leg out, and then we'll land the right toes to meet the left. This time as you inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale all the air out. Maybe stick your tongue out, let it go. And then make your way to the top of the mat. Inhale as you lift halfway up. Exhale to fold. This time on your inhale, rise up, lengthening through the spine. As you exhale, we'll reach that left arm back, right arm forward. Good. From here, left hand can land to the low back, right arm lifts up, maybe reaches overhead. Good, and then cargo those hands all the way down to the earth. Inhale as you lift halfway up. Exhale to fold. Left knee bends, left hand lands. Inhale, right arm lifts up and open. Good. This time, go ahead and land that right hand down. Inhale lifts you halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way to standing. Arms will lift. Exhale, right arm reaches back, left arm forward. Inhale, reverse your standing mountain pose here. Left arm lifts up and back. One more breath in. Exhale, cartwheel those hands all the way down. Inhale, we'll lift halfway up. Right knee will bend as the right hand lands, left arm lifts up and open. Good. From here, landing that left hand down. Inhale, we'll lift halfway up. This time we'll step back into our plank pose. Good. This time in your plank pose, we're going to lower down all the way to the belly to the count of 10. So shifting just slightly forward, we'll start to lower down, passing through chaturanga for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Body lands, uncurling the toes. Good. From here, take your fingers out a little wider than they normally are for your cobra. Spread your fingers wide and lift up the palms so you've kind of got spider hands. On an inhale, pick your chest up. Press through the tops of your feet so you're not using your glutes to make this action happen. Crown of the head is just reaching upward. You're not cranking your gaze up. One more breath in. And exhale, slowly lower down. Begin to just pick up your knees or your feet. Maybe make a little pillow for your forehead and then windshield wiper your feet side to side. And then from here, slowly press yourself back to your first child's pose. So hips drop back to the heels, arms reach forward. Take a moment as your chest rests onto your thighs just to feel your heart beating, that little reminder that you are here. You're alive. You're open, but you're also grounded. And when you're ready, begin to come forward into your tabletop, slowly lifting up and back to downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, we'll lift that left leg high. You can bend the knee, open the hip again here if you'd like. Eventually, we'll straighten the legs, square the hip as you breathe in. As you breathe out, slowly draw the knee forward to the nose, press the air completely out, and then step that left foot through. Stay lifted for a moment, just kind of finding a depth that works through your hips. Eventually, we'll tap the right knee down. You can keep those right toes tucked for now, walking the hands up onto the thigh. Take an inhale as your hips settle down and forward. As you exhale, round through your upper back, drop your chin to your chest, slightly reaching your hips toward the space behind you. You'll feel a little stretch through the front of that hip flexor on the right leg. Good, let's take one more breath in and out. Slowly let those hips just settle forward slightly, still maintaining some strength through the legs. Arms will lift up. And then from here, we're gonna begin to bend at the elbows, grabbing a hold of either elbow. Take an inhale. As you exhale, lean over toward the right. Holding here, a couple more breaths, maybe looking up and under that left arm. Feeling that outer left hip strengthen back toward the right inner thigh. Inhale, come back to center. As you exhale, move over to the left. Feeling that right glute sort of stabilize this action here. Inhale, come back to center, arms lift straight up. As you exhale, cactus the elbows, open up across the chest. Inhale, arms lift up. As you exhale, hands land down to the earth, shift your hips back, taking a half split. So you can keep that left knee as bent as you'd like. We'll take an inhale as you lift halfway up. Exhale to fold over that straightened leg. 2 more breaths here. You can continue to kind of pulse up and down or just stay still. When you're ready, we'll slowly begin to bend into that left knee. From here, begin to step your way back into your downward facing dog. Right leg lifts up when you're ready. Bend the knee, open the hip. Move it around a couple of times any way you did before. Eventually straighten the legs, square the hip as you breathe in. As you breathe out, draw the knee forward toward the nose, push the air completely out, and then step it through to the top. Again, you can kind of shift forward and back, anything that would feel nice. Eventually, the back knee will tap down. The toes stay tucked for a moment if you'd like, taking the hands up to the thigh. Take an inhale here as your hips settle down and forward. And as you exhale, round through your back and gently lift your hips back toward the space behind you as your chin drops to your chest. Breathing into the hip flexor of that left leg, just 2 more. Allowing those hips to settle down and forward. On an inhale, lift the arms up. As you exhale, grab a hold of either elbow, maybe wrapping them the way that feels a little less natural. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, lean to the left. Play around with your gaze, what feels best. Feeling that sense of openness, of vulnerability, sort of leaning into it. On your next inhale, come through center, and as you exhale, pass over to the other side. One more breath. Inhale back to center, arms will lift up. As you exhale, cactus through the elbows, open up across the chest. One more breath in. And as you exhale, release those hands down, shift the hips back, half split. Take a moment to lift up halfway as you breathe in and fold as you breathe out. Good. From here, slowly bending back into that right knee. Hands will land to either side of the foot as you step back. Move through a flow if you like. We'll all eventually meet in downward facing dog. This time in your down dog, take an inhale as you bend your knees, look forward. Exhale all the air out. And then step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale as you lift halfway up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise all the way to standing, arms will lift. This time, bring the hands together at heart center. Take a moment, close your eyes down, reconnect with your intention. From here, we're gonna take the feet out a little bit wider than hips distance. On an inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. As you exhale, begin to spin your toes out, heels stay in as you come into a squat here, Malasana squat. Hips settle. If this is a little too much, you can always elevate your hips to a block. Imagine you're standing up tall here, so the crown of the head doesn't dip forward, it's lifting and lengthening upward. Let's take one more breath here. Good. From here, we'll place the hands forward, lift the chest up halfway as your hips lift into a forward fold position. So your legs come together about hips distance. As you exhale, fold down. Inhale, we'll lift halfway up. We'll begin to bend into that left knee as your right arm lifts up and open. Take one more breath in here. Exhale it out. Inhale, rise all the way to standing from here. Right arm reaches back, left arm forward. We'll take that right hand to the low back. Left arm lifts up and over. Take an inhale. And exhale. Slowly cartwheel those hands back down. This time as you inhale, lift yourself halfway up. As you exhale, step your right foot to the back of the mat, coming into your runner's lunge. Energize through the inner thighs. When you're ready, rise up into your crescent. Arms lift, hips settle. From here, we'll begin to grab a hold of either elbow. Take an inhale as you lean to the right. Exhale. Inhale back to center. One breath over to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale, cactus the elbows, opening up the heart. Inhale, lifting the arms up. As you exhale, hands land forward, hopping your right foot up about a foot's distance as you set up into your pyramid stretch. Now you're welcome to stay here in pyramid. If this is plenty for your hamstring, you can also come back to your half split. Or if you want to try out your warrior 3 or standing splits, those are all good options. We'll just take a couple more here. Good. From here, we're going to begin to lift that right leg up if it's not already there. Begin to draw that knee in towards your nose, slowly coming up all the way to standing. Right knee draws up and in. We'll cross the ankle over the thigh, bend into your left knee, coming into your figure 4 chair. Pulsing up and down so you find a good amount of depth through the hips, openness. One more breath. From here, we'll come back to our one-legged mountain. Right knee draws up and in. Left hand to that right knee as your right arm reaches back. Take a big breath in. As you breathe out, stepping back into your warrior 2. Inhale, straighten the leg. Lift both arms up and overhead. And exhale, settle back in. Good, and then from here, keeping your legs where they are, just begin to bring the arms up. You'll link that right hand into your left hand. Slowly begin to bend at the elbows, letting that left elbow just land toward the top of the head. Right elbow begins to drop toward the right hip as you breathe in a couple of breaths. Let's take one more. Good. On your next inhale, lift the arms up, straighten the legs. Take that left hand to your right wrist as you begin to lean forward toward a triangle stretch here. Now you can keep the hands linked, working on the oblique strength here, or place that left hand down, the right arm up. Maybe even cactusing the elbow. And of course, you're welcome to stay in your triangle or begin to move forward to your balancing half moon, lifting the right leg up, right arm up. You can play around with variations, anything that would feel good. We just got one more breath. We'll all land back to our triangle pose, lifting that left arm up and back as you breathe in. As you breathe out, cartwheel those hands down to the earth. Right hand stays down. On an inhale, lift your left arm up. And then we're gonna slowly rise all the way up into a twisted crescent here. So that left arm will reach back, right arm will reach forward. Squeezing the hips here to stabilize. Take one more breath, maybe finding a little back bend. And then we'll reach that right arm forward, take the left arm behind it, coming into your eagle arms as you wrap up, maybe all the way, maybe halfway, giving yourself a little hug. We'll take one more breath in here, lifting the elbows, leaning up and back. As you exhale, leaning forward, arrow lunge, just take one breath in. As you breathe out, gently spin open toward the long edge of the mat, straightening the legs, folding down as you release the arms. Wide-legged fold, letting the head and neck just relax, maybe nodding yes, shaking no. Let's take two more here. Your next inhale will lift up and move back around toward the top of the mat. Stepping back, move through a flow if you wish, or just go right back into down dog. This is our last sequence and the last side before we slow things down. Let's take a big breath in. Let it go. From here, bending into your knees, stepping or hopping forward. Inhale as you lift halfway up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise all the way to standing. Arms will lift, palms come together, and hands come to your heart. We'll bring those feet out a little wider than the hips. Toes out, heels in. Take an inhale here as you lift the arms up. As you exhale, sit into your malasana. Of course, this time you're welcome to move into an arm balance, a twist, whatever you'd like. Let's take about 3 more breaths. So any variations you plan to try, take them here. Eventually, hands land forward, lift your hips up, half forward fold, breathing in and breathing out. Right hand stays down, right knee bends. As you lift halfway, lift that left arm up and open. Good. On your next breath in, we'll rise all the way to standing with that left arm reaching back, right arm reaching forward, maybe moving into the reverse of this. One more breath in. And as you exhale, carve those hands all the way down. Walk the feet a little closer as you breathe in, lift halfway. As you breathe out, step your left foot to the back of the mat. Setting up for crescent lunge. When you're ready, rise up. Exhale to settle. Good. From here, we'll grab a hold of either elbow one last time. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, lean to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, lean to the right. Inhale, back to center. As you exhale, cactus the elbows, open the heart. Inhale, here's your arms lift. As you exhale, plant the hands down, hop that left foot in, setting up for pyramid, warrior 3, or standing splits. Whatever you did on that first side. Taking about 4 to 5 breaths here, no rush to find any amount of stretch. And then on your next breath in, we'll slowly begin to lift that left leg if it's not already lifted. And then slowly draw that left knee in towards your nose, rise up to standing, one-legged mountain. We'll cross that left ankle over the right thigh, sitting into your figure 4 chair. Good, just 2 more breaths here, finding your depth, that little edge of sensation where you can lean into the openness, into the discomfort. Good, on your next inhale, we'll come to standing, left knee draws up and in, right hand goes to the shin, left arm reaches back. Take 1 big breath in here, As you exhale, step your left foot back, warrior two legs. Inhale, straighten the leg, lift the arms. Exhale, deepen back in. Keeping the legs as they are, arms will lift. This time linking the left fingertips into the right hand. As you begin to drop that right inner elbow toward the head, drop your left elbow down toward the left hip. Breathing into your mermaid arms here. We'll revisit these in a moment. One more breath. Inhale, slowly come back up, straighten your front leg. We'll grab for the left wrist with the right hand, leaning forward into your triangle, Trikonasana. Again, you can maintain this nice side body strengthener or land the hand to the shin or a block. Maybe taking any variations you did before. And of course, you have the option to move into your balancing half moon from here. So if you'd like to take the option, shifting forward, left leg will lift. So it's the same thing as your triangle pose, just with a balancing element added. Any variations you want to try. We've got 3 more breaths. Slowly landing the leg if it's lifted. Inhale, reverse. As you exhale, carve those hands all the way down, squaring off the hips as you spin to the ball of the back foot. From here, on an inhale, rise up into your crescent. As you exhale, reach your right arm back, left arm forward. Good. From here, you can move into your reverse if you'd like. One big breath in. As you exhale, reach that left arm forward. Right arm will scoop underneath the left. Finding your version of eagle arms, whatever you did before. Take an inhale, lift the elbows high, leaning up and back a bit. As you exhale, leaning forward, maybe tap the elbows to the knee. One breath in. With control, begin to move around to the long edge of the mat. Wide-legged stance. As you fold down, you can release the arms, head and neck relax. Adding any variation here you'd like. You've got some time. You can even come back into that Malasana squat if you'd like. We'll take about 5 more breaths. Your next inhale will lift halfway up. As you exhale, walk around to the top. Take a final vinyasa flow or just step back to down dog, eventually landing to child's pose. Hips drop back, head and neck settled. Take a big inhale wherever you are. Sigh it out. From here, we'll make our way into tabletop position. And we'll begin to extend that left heel back, lifting it up about hip height. You can bend into the knee and swirl it around a couple times if you'd like. From here, we're going to begin to draw that left knee over toward the right wrist, threading that leg through. So you might want to pick up your right toes to get that action to take place. Eventually dropping your left hip down. Keep your right toes behind you nice and tucked. You'll begin to move forward, folding into a nice little outer hip stretch here. We'll just take a couple more breaths here. Your next inhale, slowly begin to rise up. And instead of coming back around to face the front, we'll spin open toward the back left corner of your mat. So all 10 toes will point up, legs are wide, take a big breath in. As you breathe out, we'll lean toward that right leg. So maybe drop your elbow onto the shin or a block as the left arm reaches overhead. If you'd like to turn this more into a forward fold, you can square your chest over the right leg and just melt forward. We have a little bit of time here. We're moving into more of the yin portion of the practice. So take your time to settle wherever you are, slow your breath. We'll take about 4 more breaths here. On your next inhale, slowly begin to pick the chest up, cartwheel the hands around. This is strategic for me. You're gonna begin to make your way up and into a pigeon pose. So you'll draw that left knee over toward the left wrist, and the foot will be over toward the right. So you might have to use a prop of some kind to modify here. I've got a dog to help me. So you're welcome to use your dog if they're nearby and they're willing. So take a few breaths. We're gonna stay upright for the first couple of breaths in our pigeon pose. So activating and pressing into that left shin. Do the same with the back leg. So really press into the quad so you come off of the kneecap a bit. And then you can stay here or begin to bend into your left knee. You can stay here or begin to just kind of open your chest out to the right side. And then from here, you can just grab for the foot if it's accessible, maybe using a strap. If you can go a little deeper, engage the hamstring, draw the heel toward the glute, and slide the foot into your inner elbow. You can stay here, or if you have the balance, maintaining that strength and buoyancy through the hips, find your mermaid arms, just like we did in our warrior two. Feeling that sense of openness, uncertainty, we'll take 2 more breaths. And then eventually releasing out of it. Take that right arm, maybe thread it across the chest over toward the left side, landing into your pigeon pose. And we'll take about a minute here, so really letting go of effort, allowing your body to sink in to the ease of the posture. Two more breaths here. And then from here, slowly begin to press back up, taking your time. To exit the pose, we'll just scoot that right knee in. And then from here, you can swing that left leg back, give it a couple more circles of movement, or you can open out to your modified wild thing once more, lifting that left arm up and open. And we'll come back around, squaring off the hips, settling into the legs. We'll lift that right leg up and back. Maybe bending into that right knee, swirl it around a couple times. Eventually, we'll thread that right knee over toward the left wrist, maybe tucking your left toes, lifting your left knee so you can scoot that leg through. And we'll slowly drop the outer right hip down toward the mat. I like to keep my back toes tucked again just for support here. You can fold your chest forward. Breathing into the twist here. To make the twist a little less intense, just open your torso to the left a bit. Three more breaths. and then slowly begin to press into your hands, rise back up. We'll spin open toward V legs here, so all 10 toes point up. This time we'll begin to lean over toward that left leg, maybe letting your elbow land to a block or the shin. Right arm will reach overhead. No pressure to touch the toes or do anything fancy here. Just feel your way into the pose. That is enough. Again, you can stay open here, or if you want to fold, you're going to rotate and square your chest toward that left leg. And then on your next breath in, slowly rise up. We'll cartwheel the hands back around to the top of the mat, gently sliding that right knee over to the right wrist, setting up for your pigeon. Once you land, find that buoyancy first, so really pressing into the shin of the right leg, the thigh of the left. And then you can just stay here. This is quite a bit, back bend as well as an opener for the front of the hip. Or you can add on by bending into the left knee. See how that feels. Maybe begin to open your torso to the left, maybe reaching back with a strap or your hand for the foot. These are all great stopping points, or you can add on by engaging the hamstring, drawing the heel to the glute, wrapping the arm around the foot, and that right arm can reach overhead this time. Mermaid pose. Don't forget to breathe. Let's take 2 more. Slowly releasing, gently begin to fold, maybe threading the left arm across, finding a little twist. Take about another minute here. Last breath in and out. Good. From here, we'll make our way back to our final tabletop position or downward facing dog, whatever you did on the other side. Stretch out, releasing the hip, the knee. Maybe finding that modified wild thing if you'd like. Eventually coming around, we'll scoot the knees forward. If you have a block or blanket nearby, grab for it. And we'll swing those legs to the top of the mat. Setting up for a supported bridge pose here. So if you have a prop, you're gonna begin to place it toward the sacrum. So the low back where that nice flat space is. Begin to lower down. Pressing into your feet, you'll lift your hips and slide your prop under that sacrum. So you've got a nice firm base of support. You don't want it to feel wobbly. And then take up some space here. Maybe arms reach overhead or cactus, heels reach forward. And then begin to just trust that that block will hold you up. The earth is keeping you in place, even in the midst of this openness, this vulnerability. Take about another minute here, so no rush. Just enjoying these yin-like moments of the practice. Let's take our last breath in. Open your mouth and just let it go. Slowly begin to press into the feet, so bending the knees. Lift those hips up just slightly so you can remove the block and then roll down one little vertebrae at a time all the way back down to your back. Once you land, bend the knees, drop them side to side a couple of times. Letting the low back acclimate to that space, to the openness. Eventually, we'll just hug those knees into the chest. Give yourself a really nice big hug here. And then taking any finishing stretches you'd like, maybe a little supine twist in one direction and then the other. If you'd like a happy baby pose, you're welcome to take that. Make sure if you're doing something one-sided, you balance it out. And then eventually making your way to Shavasana, your final resting pose. So you can take any kind of reclining position that you'd prefer. If you'd like to lay on your back just flat, go for it. If you'd rather take the legs up the wall or take that butterfly variation we started with, feel free to go there. We'll just end with some moments to absorb the space, this feeling of openness, but also notice and absorb this feeling of security, of safety. As you settle into stillness, letting the breath go and just observing your heart is still beating. You are here. Take rest.
I'm so proud of you.
Begin to deepen your breath. Inviting small movements back into the body, spreading the fingers, shaking out the toes. And take the arms overhead, stretching out here as you breathe in and then sigh out. Slowly begin to bend into the knees, dropping the body over to one side into a fetal position. And then gently press yourself up to a comfortable seat, keeping the eyes heavy just for a moment here. Taking your hands together at the heart, just feeling the beating heart right beneath the surface of your chest. Notice the rhythm of your breath. That heart beating, this breath moving. These are your reminders that you are here. Even when you feel vulnerable and open, there is a source of strength and stability within you. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me from near or far. Namaste.